I'm going to break down my entire process for how I have used artificial intelligence to become a better communicator over the last 2 years. But before I do, I want to launch into why you need to be using artificial intelligence to be a better communicator. So let's get to it.
Welcome to the Sam Linton Show, the podcast designed to help you shift your mindset, find your voice, and change your world. Sam is a pastor, coach, and expert communicator, helping leaders and entrepreneurs like you step into their purpose, speak with confidence, and make a lasting difference. So let's dive in.
Well, we are back for another episode of the Sam Linton Show, and please do, I haven't asked you this for a while. I think we're getting along so well, I don't want to ask a favor, but if you could please like and subscribe. Let us know that you, and like and subscribe like we're on YouTube. Okay, you know what I mean. Subscribe and share. Let us know that you are watching. Let us know what you like about the program by leaving a review. If you don't like the Sam Linton Show, why are you still here? Why are you torturing yourself? I would not recommend. Okay, so just forget that I said anything if that's the case. But we are here to talk about artificial intelligence. I know this is a hot topic, especially in the area where people have to do things that are a little on the artistic side. So, as you know, I'm a writer, and I've written 5 novels and 2 nonfiction books, and it's a hotly debated idea of using AI to enhance your writing or even as an AI assistant. Some people are like, don't even install it. It's going to know your whole life, and it'll take your IP. And here's what my take is real quick if you want to know. I think it doesn't matter whether we use it or not. I think it's here to stay. It's like saying I'm not going to use the internet. The internet is here to stay. I remember when the internet became big. Yes, I'm that old. I remember back in the early mid-90s, late 90s, early 2000s when people were saying, oh, we got to go to libraries. We got to study there. We shouldn't be going on the internet. And here the internet survive those people's objections. And I believe that AI is going to as well. I think we're in the first iteration of how it's really being used, but it's disrupted everything. So there's no reason why you shouldn't use it to become a better communicator. There's a million different things you could do, but I jotted some things down that I think will help you to get a handle on this. So first thing you want to do with AI, and then I'm going to give you my whole process, what I do, because I speak 4 times a weekend to between roughly 600 and 1,000 people, depending on what's going on. And so I've been using AI to help me to be a better preacher, to be a better leader, to be a better communicator with my team. And so I'll give you a couple things. First of all, of course, the obvious, AI is clutch for speech drafting and outlining. Speech drafting and outlining. So you could ask ChatGPT or Grok or Perplexity, Claude, whatever your current AI of choice is. You can ask it to generate a speech for you. Now, here's a key on how to do this. Now, I don't usually do this. I will ask it to refine, which we'll get to in a moment. But you could say, hey, ChatGPT, generate a speech about the price of eggs since Joe Biden became the president versus Trump. And if you want to do like an incendiary speech, it's probably a bad example. Let's say you had to do a speech on how to respond to emails and why you should respond quickly. You can easily ask AI to generate that speech for you where it gives you a really good outline. Now, here's what I do when I am approaching AI, and I will recommend something that you want to Google called prompt engineering. If you can learn how to prompt better, you're going to be able to use AI better. But one of the best prompts that you will ever use is, you are a blank. So ChatGPT, you are a speechwriter. You're a famous speechwriter that has written thousands of speeches that have connected to millions of people. Tell me how to write a speech. Okay, so you give it a role, so it's not just outlining it as if it doesn't have a personality or a persona. But you give it that persona so that this way it knows what you're expecting in terms of the quality of results and in terms of what you can expect as output. So you give it that prompt and look at what it generates. Now, I would be a little more specific. Talk to it like you would talk to a person and not like you would Google something. So I would say 30 minutes on the price of eggs in the economy, or 30 minutes on how to respond to email. Let's do that. I'm doing a 30-minute talk on the best practices for responding to email. Please outline the talk. Give me 3 main points. Underneath each main point, give me 2 subpoints. Please give me a couple stories. But remember, this is 30 minutes, and keep it to that timeline. I wouldn't have it generate the entire speech. I would have it generate the talking points, and then I would refine them. So that's a good way for instant speech drafting and outline. Now, a second one, and this is phenomenal. I did this not too long ago, is I told you if you're going to be a good communicator, if you're going to make the right connections, you are going to have to know your audience. You have to know your audience, no question. That means if you're communicating to one person or you're communicating to 1,000, those people and what they're experiencing matters. So if you can communicate to them in terms of their experiences, you are going to come across as a 10 times better communicator in my estimation and in my experience. So, audience analysis. Here's how you want to do it. I would do the same thing. I would say, you are a events coordinator and you are coordinating an event for a speech. Let's say I gave one for a nonprofit group. You're giving a speech to a nonprofit group of healthcare workers that work with at-risk and special needs folks. I did a group like this not too long ago. And these are the workers. Give me an audience analysis. Tell me their pain points. Tell me maybe some things about them that I wouldn't know. Tell me some things that they could relate to. I would just talk to it like you were talking to a person. And what you're going to find is that it's going to give you most likely some good information about the people most likely to enter into those fields, the people that are most likely to enter into those fields, and that are most likely going to have the same pain points. Because if you're going to speak, one of the things you have to get good at is identifying your audience's pain points and figuring that out. So the audience analysis could be done by AI helping you to kind of chisel into what their problem is. So you could do this with a one-on-one too. Hey, I'm meeting with my executive team. So-and-so has been coming in late a lot. I noticed that the morale is gone. I noticed that we're not as productive. Give me some analysis as to why that might be. Give them your field. Give it more information. Another prompt, and I know this isn't an AI class, but another prompt that I will give it is, what questions can I answer in order for you to give me the best information about analyzing my audience? All right, so if you do, what questions can I answer, then it'll give you a list of like 10 questions. When you answer them, it'll generate more accurate information. So with audience, what questions could I answer to help you do an audience analysis of this upcoming event that I have? And if you don't know, you don't know. But better that you give the information that you know than you give information that's not relevant. Does that make sense? So you want to make sure that you use it in a way where you are trying to get the best and most accurate information right up front. So we have, so far, drafting and outlining, great. Audience analysis, even better. Next, you could get feedback from delivery. Feedback from delivery. So what you could do, and I haven't done this, I have another way that I will suggest that you give feedback from delivery, and my way's a little longer. This is a shorter way. But you can actually use ChatGPT's voice feature and start the speech a little bit. Just go, hey, I'm going to give a speech. I want you to pretend like you're a critic of this and tell me what you think or what I should change. And then take a section by section part of the speech. So what this will do is it'll give you real-time feedback on different things like pacing, filler words, tone, clarity. It's not going to necessarily be comprehensive. It's going to be doing it based on what it thinks you should do, but it's going to be better than no feedback, because I think the key to being a great communicator is feedback. And the key to being a great communicator is being able to talk about your approach to communication. That's why I do what I do. I train people in their communication. I work with executives. I have an upcoming event that I'm going to be training some people on their speaking. And it's going to be a great time. But there's nothing like getting feedback on something that you're working on. It saves time. It saves energy. It saves you money in a lot of ways if you're getting feedback, so you know you don't go out and bomb the sales pitch, right? So instant feedback on delivery. ChatGPT could help you if you use voice mode. Grok can do voice mode too. Just tell it, hey, don't interrupt me until I ask for feedback, but I need you to listen to this. And I would do at the most like a 5-minute chunk of your presentation or an overview of your presentation, and that could yield your whole entire new talk. All right, so we got all those firing. You want to make sure that it's helpful what content is coming out, so you're not required to take all of the content. You only have to take what you know you're going to use. All right, so you have feedback. We got audience analysis. We have outlining. Now another huge one. This is so helpful. This has been a game changer for me, is you can ask it to simplify complex concepts or ideas. Now, why is that important? Well, I've said this before, and I said it actually on my YouTube channel. And by the way, I have a YouTube channel. There's a lot of fun stuff going on at the Sam Linton Show, but I have a YouTube channel. All of these are in video. You could go onto our YouTube channel. It's just Sam Linton. We're going to put the link in the description for the show here, but there's also bonus YouTube content that I that I record specifically for you about speaking. I did one when I was driving home about the 3 things you never want to do during a presentation. Good stuff. All that is on my YouTube channel, so I would love it if you like this to like and subscribe at YouTube and take a look at some of those videos as well. But coming back to this idea of complex ideas, one thing that is super, super common is if you are asked to give a presentation on a certain topic, you are going to be way better educated on that topic than the people that you're speaking to. So, what you need to be able to do is to take that topic and boil it down in a way where a 5-year-old can understand it. Now, those people are not less intelligent than you. That's not the case. Those people have less experience at dealing with the subject that you are delivering on. So you can't expect them to know everything. When I talk about my role, like when I talk about communication, if I use words like rule of 3 and framework and balanced tonality and congruent body language, all of that is inside baseball. And you might know what some of those things are, and you could Google it. But I want to try to make it clear when I'm speaking so that you don't have to Google anything that you don't use. You don't want to have your audience burning, somebody said this, you don't want them burning extra calories to figure out what it is that you're trying to say. So AI is your friend on this. Say, hey, I'm talking about, and I'll give you a theological example. A theological topic that I cover whenever I am preaching sometimes is something called the incarnation. No, it's not the packets that you use to make hot cocoa. That's carnation. This is incarnation, which is the idea of Jesus becoming man. What did this look like? Was there a process? When I start using words like incarnation, when I start using words like kenosis and those types of theological words that are Greek and have different backgrounds, it's going to confuse people. But if I say that God put on flesh like we put on clothing, he took flesh and put it on himself, and he still was God, but he had flesh upon himself, that's a lot easier to understand. That's what the incarnation is. It's God becoming man, essentially. So I know that's theological, but I guarantee you there's things in your role, in your company, that you have to explain, and there are people that are sitting there going, I don't know what the heck she's talking about. You know it. You're like, you don't know this? They don't know it. It's not an issue of intelligence, it's an issue of knowledge. They don't have your knowledge. So you have to approach it with simplification. You could ask AI, look, break this down so I could explain it. And there's some common things that will help you to break it down. These are whether you use ChatGPT or not, but I'll give them to you quickly. Number one, the analogy. One of the most common ways to explain something complex. The analogy of me putting on a coat, just like God putting on humanity, putting on human form. That's the same thing. Now that's an analogy. It's a rough analogy, but an analogy gets you to understand more of the complexity by understanding what's the basis of something that everybody universally understands. Do you understand how to put a shirt on? Yes. Do you understand how to put a jacket on? Yes. Do you understand that sometimes you have to put a jacket on for a temporary amount of time? Yes. That's what Jesus did when he took on human flesh. There you go, the incarnation. In a business setting, you could say, look, here I'll give you an example. The train, that's a big analogy. Just like a train needs a track to move on, and the track has to bend in certain ways, so do we need to watch our pacing, and we have to slow down and speed up in certain times so that we're clear at communicating. Analogies keep things simple. Another thing that helps with complexity is bite-sized explanations. So if you have a huge standard operating procedure that you have to explain in a meeting, you can build it little by little and ask AI to tell you, how would you build this new login structure for remote work? How would you build this? Give it to me piece by piece so I can explain it. And it will break it down, and you could even develop some visual aids based on your build out. So this is all simplifying complex ideas. You want to make what you say as easy to understand as possible, but it actually takes a lot more intelligence to make something sound simple than it is to keep it complicated. That's why I use artificial intelligence. It'll make things easy to understand and easy to comprehend. Okay, so simplifying complex ideas. All right, when we talked about visual aids, yet another application of AI that I have been using recently that's helped me quite a bit is using AI to produce visual aids. I hate making slides. Hate. I mean despise. I hate it. I love delivering programs, but I always need slides. I need a slide deck. I need a presentations deck. I need all of that stuff, and I just can't stand it. AI can now generate the text for the slides. There are some programs you could purchase. And I don't recommend any because I use a bunch of different ones, so I'm not going to tell you to use one in particular. But you can find presentation AI presentation slide makers, and actually upload your talk into AI, and it will generate the slides. And it'll actually ask you, do you want to generate all of them? Do you want us to strip it down? Do you want us to just give key concepts? And we could have a whole other conversation on visual aids, but you don't want your slides to be a word for word of your presentation. That's not what the point of slides are. They're a visual aid. They are not to be the end-all be-all to your communication, even if it's a small group, a one-on-one, or even like a big event. You need to use them for what they're supposed to be used for, which is to aid people in understanding what you're saying. Well, AI can design your slides. You could say, act as a professional slide designer or Photoshop designer. Tell me how you would build these slides, and it might actually give you instructions on how to build them yourself, which is a phenomenal help. But you want to make sure that you use it to give you suggestions about the slides. And then if you have somebody else on your team, you could pass off the framework for the slides to them and have them design it for you. Sorry, I'm drinking a lot. I have a little something in my throat today. But coming back to it, you want to make sure that your slides are well done, free of errors, and free of grammatical errors. Well, AI got you covered on that because it won't generate grammatical errors. It might generate style errors, things that you don't like and how it presents it, but you can use AI to generate the text for your slides, which is a huge, huge way. You could also have it generate artwork for your slides. Hey, a man bent over a pile of paperwork, stressed out. Let's say you're doing a presentation on workflow and time management. You could have AI generate for you a picture of what that would look like. Okay, so again, all on the table, all possible, and AI makes it really, really easy. Okay, so we had a lot in that. Another thing that you can have it do is once you get done with your talk, you can upload the outline to the talk to ChatGPT or any AI platform and ask it to generate what a Q&A scenario might look like based on your topic. So what conversations would people want to have about this particular topic, about the new login system, about what's going on with the state of the company, about how my services differ from other services. Once you get the topic down, you can do a mock question answer scenario where ChatGPT will generate that. If you're just doing a keynote and you might not have a question and answer, it's fine. Don't do this. But if you are having a meeting, that's going to be more fluid. That's going to require you to be a little bit more organic on the side of conversation. And if that's the case, then you're going to need questions and answers. Otherwise, it's going to be, I talk, you listen, we're bored. We're both bored. So question and answer sessions are helpful. AI can help you to navigate what you need to know about going into those types of situations. Really, really helpful. Okay? All right, so we're right at the end of that's just a fraction of some of the things that you can use AI for. Each one we could probably spend 30 minutes talking about each one, but I'm going to give you right now, as I promised, what I have been doing lately for my polishing of talks and sermons in particular. All right? So, every single Thursday, no matter what, I am ready with my sermon. I'm ready to go preach a practice version of my sermon. Now, you're like, Pastor Sam, which you're not going to call me Pastor Sam. You're going to say, Sam, church is on Sunday. What are you doing speaking on Thursday? Well, there's a couple reasons. We film in advance so we have a backup file ready in case the internet goes down. So we have something that we can broadcast and pre-schedule on YouTube just in case there's a problem with the internet. All right, so we have that. But there's a second reason that I have really, really loved. I will take my phone, just a regular iPhone, okay? This is so amazing to do. And what I do is, as I'm recording the sermon, as I'm speaking the message, I record a copy of the sermon into my voice notes. So you just go into your iPhone, you get your voice notes, and you just hit the record button. All right? Now, once I'm finished, if you have a newer iPhone, when I say the newer iPhone has the newest iOS, I would say most recent, maybe last 2 years of iPhones, you can go under the voice memo, and you could actually find that there is a transcript, and it does a really good job on the transcript. It's a word-for-word document of your entire talk. Okay, so it pulls my sermon up, and I take the text and I put it into ChatGPT. So all I do is copy and paste the text. I don't modify it, and I will give it a prompt like this. Hey, here is a rough transcription of my sermon. Sometimes I upload my outline too, but I'll say, here's the rough transcription. Please analyze this and look for any ways that I could improve on delivery, any ways I can simplify, any illustrations I could add. And I'll go through this sometimes 3 or 4 rounds. Each one of those might be a prompt. And what it does is it analyzes the text and it comes up with very specific suggestions. I would say I've used like 2 of 10. And that's pretty good. Because remember, Google, you're not using hardly anything. With this, I'm using like 2 of 10. So it gave me a really amazing illustration for I was looking for a story illustration. That's another thing we didn't talk about, but getting illustration ideas. But you got to check it, all right? So I use it for illustration purposes, and I'll say, can you have an illustration of somebody that was in bondage and then they were set free? Or can you give me an illustration of somebody that was on top of the world and then they lost everything? So it gave me a phenomenal illustration of Napoleon Bonaparte being in exile for 6 years and then dying. Like, he was the ruler of the world, and then he goes into hiding because they banished him into exile for 6 years. He's in obscurity, and he dies there. So I grabbed that illustration, I threaded it into my message, and it worked amazingly. But it did the legwork. It gave me the dates of his death. Now, again, all this is Googleable. You can Google all this, but it kind of set up the framework of the story based on how I was saying the sermon, and it was perfect. So I will take those things and analyze it. And then what I'll do is I will rewrite or add what I already wrote based on AI's delivery suggestions. So I'll add the stuff in. Sometimes it says you're rambling here. I'm like, you don't talk to me like that. I'm your owner. I don't say that because I want AI to be nice to us when the robot apocalypse happens. But I take what it gives me and I kind of rework my message, and it's been super helpful. Now, you can't get away from just, and some of you might say, oh, I'm just going to generate all of it. You could do that, but I'm going to kind of tell you my take on this and any other thing that involves humanity and an art form, which is speaking is, in a sense, kind of an art form. The roughness of your speaking is what makes your speaking good. Not the polish, not the perfections, not the getting all of the quotes down, getting all of the things right. That's not what makes your speaking good. What makes your speaking good is the parts that are uniquely you. AI is not there yet. I'm not saying it won't be. But I'm saying right now, that's the most valuable thing that you bring to a talk. So you can use AI to enhance your talk, and you should. But you're not going to let AI replace you in that talk, because now you know that you can fine-tune it. This stuff that will take an hours before, this takes maybe an hour total to do all the things I just told you it could do. Once you get that under your belt, then you could focus on being in the moment. That's the best part. You focus on being there with that one-on-one. You focus on leading your team better. You focus on captivating that audience. You focus on getting yourself in the right state of mind to really make a connection. That's where the magic happens. And the preparation allows that to be the foundation. But then when you can connect, that's where it's at. So we help leaders connect. I'd love to work with you. Email me at podcast@samuellinton.com, and I will give you all of our services and frameworks and what we can do to help you in your business. But most important thing, if a leader gets better, all of us benefit from a leader getting better. So shift your mindset, find your voice, change the world. We'll see you next time.